In this video, we're going to use this raw data of several assets to find the covariance metrics and the expected returns in preparation for using Solver for asset allocation. So all these have to be quick, and I want to talk you through maybe some of the shortcuts as we do this. So insert a pivot table, click OK rather than hitting the mouse. We can drag the date to the row, the ticker to the column, the returns to the values. These things are grouped. So right click and ungroup. And then now we have all of the data. Copy everything but this last grand total column, Control C, come over here, Control V. Now I'm going to go back to here and rename this pivot table. So I want to remember what's on my sheets. I don't want anything named sheet 1, sheet 2. Control page down comes here to what's sheet 2. And I'm just going to rename this asset allocation. So I want to have the first thing is go to the very bottom, Control down, Control minus, and then not with the mouse but with the arrow keys, go to entire row, get rid of that entire row, Control Shift up over, Control Shift 1, and then I'm going to give myself a couple of extra decimal places there. I like to have the first column to be empty just because I think it looks better visually. No other reason than that. I'm going to call this date. I'm going to get rid of this, Control minus, get rid of the entire row. I can come over here, double click, and right here I'm going to label this Control B and I to put, not Shift, but Control B and I to put it in bold and italics and call that returns. I'm going to center it across this entire selection. So just here and center across selection. Now I have it. I want to freeze the panes. I'll probably freeze them maybe right here. So View, Freeze Panes, Control down to the bottom, skipping a row, equal average, Tab, period, Control up, down with the arrow key, close parenthesis times 12. Now I'm going to drag this across. I'm going to make this column J a little bit smaller. I'm going to call this my stock. Call this the returns. I'm going to copy this. I can do Control Shift over, Control C. Come to this point. I can do Control Alt V, Control Alt V, and you see the E right here. So if I press E for transpose, click OK, they're all transposed. Now if I change this to something, it will not change the stocks here, right? So Control Z doesn't do that. However, if I do a cell reference, I want to transpose all of these. So I'm going to highlight this entire area, equal transpose, and then over with arrow keys, Control down here, Control Shift over, close parenthesis, Control Shift enter, and I have all those transposed, Control Shift 5, and add a couple of decimals. Now I have that in percent, and notice this is a cell reference down to here. So if these numbers were to change, the number up there would change as well. So now I could come in with new stocks, new data, put that data here, and this would all change automatically. So to do asset allocation, I need risk, return, and relationship. I now have the return. So now I need risk and relationship, which is a covariance matrix. So I go to data, data analysis, and from the data analysis, I go to covariance, OK, the input range, which I click right here, Control Shift over, Control Shift down. That's much faster than doing anything with the mouse. And the first row has labels, so labels in the first row, the output range, where do I want to put it. I only have to click one spot right there, enter, and I have it. But this is just half of the covariance matrix, which is a smart way to do it. But I need to multiply the returns by the covariance matrix, so I need to have the full matrix. So Control C to copy. Come down here, Control V to paste, Control C to copy. Come up here, Control Alt V. I want to transpose that. So E, I'm going to do that. It's going to be a mistake. That just, and look what it did. It got rid of those, the underscore right there. It's up here now, and I have those blanks. So Control Z, come right here, Control Alt V. If I do E to transpose, but press the B for skip blanks, it's going to skip those blanks, Right here, V for values, it won't do the underlining, which is copied down to here. It will just do the numbers. And there it is. But I need to multiply these by 12. So 12, Control Enter, highlight this whole area, Control Shift over and down, Control Alt V. Oh, I didn't do copy. Control C to copy, Control Shift over and down, Control Alt V. I want to multiply, so I just press the M button. Okay, now those are all multiplied by 12, Control Shift 1. And now I can add a couple of decimal places. I can get rid of this. All this, Control minus. It doesn't matter if you shift cells up or left because there's nothing below and nothing to the right. And now they're all gone. I need that thick bottom border right here. So here and the thick bottom border. Now I have risk, return, and relationship. Next thing I want to do is I want to build a portfolio, and in that portfolio I want to know the return, and I don't want this in bold, so Control or in italics, Control I to get rid of italics, return, and I don't want that centered. Here the risk, I'll call it volatility, and I need to have the stocks and the weights. I'm going to copy all this right here. Control C, Control V, call this weights. And this is a matrix and an array, so I just delete the whole thing. I'm going to put in my own weights. And then here I'm going to have alt equal. That sums it up. You know what, I think I want to do this a different way. Control X, Control V, Control X. If I want to move stuff around, Control V, Control X, Control V. I think I like that way better. And right here, those are going to be in percent. So Control Shift 5, percentage. You notice what happened there. Give a couple decimal places. And so now my return, I can do the return two ways. One way is matrix mult. I want to multiply the weights times the returns, but I can't multiply these weights. This is a 7 by 1, so pause just a second. This is a 7 by 1 matrix right here. This is a 7 by 1 matrix. This is a 7 by 7 matrix. So I need to multiply matrix mult. I need to multiply these weights times these returns. I can't multiply a 7 by 1 times a 7 by 1, so I transpose, matrix mult, tab, transpose tab, highlight this, close parenthesis, comma. Now it's changed this from a 7 by 1 to a 1 by 7, so it's flipped it into a row, times this, Control Shift Enter, and that's the return. I can also do sum product, which is faster and better, but I just want to show you how to do that with matrix algebra. Sum product, I don't have to worry about. Oops. Let me do that again. Sum product, do this. I didn't press the comma. Times return. And they don't have to be formatted with the transpose and everything. And Control Shift 5. A couple more decimals. See, it's the same thing. The volatility, first I'm going to do the variance and then the square root, just because it gets to be pretty long and it's easier for me to see that I have the matrix multiplication working for variance and then take the square root of the whole thing. So what I want to do is I want to multiply these weights times this covariance matrix times these weights again. So I'm going to matrix multiply twice. But with the weights here, I can't do that. I need to transpose. Let me move this over so see it a little bit better. I need to transpose these weights. So now they're a 1 by 7, and they can be multiplied by a 7 by 7, and that result is a 1 by 7, and then they can be multiplied by a 7 by 1 again. And there's my result for the variance, but you know what, I want the square root of that, so SQ, tab, go to the end, Control Shift Enter. Control Shift Enter is hugely important. And now I can change these weights to wherever I change them to. You can see the return and the volatility right here. Put those in bold. And some border around it so you can see them a little bit better. As those change, as the weights change, the return volatility changes. So my goal is to make this total 100%, get this return to be my target with the volatility being as small as possible, or to get the volatility to my target by making the return as big as possible, or making the volatility as little as possible. So those are the three. But you need to be able to get to this point very quickly, very easily, without really thinking about it, because this is all really muscle memory.